Today we start Unit 4, which is quadratic functions. Quadratic functions. But what we're going to start with is factoring. For the next, I'm guessing, 2 weeks, we will do nothing but factoring. Normally, factoring is covered in Algebra 1. We don't get to it here at CAT in Algebra 1, so in order to cover the quadratic functions, we need to learn to factor first. What is factoring? To factor means to write an expression oh, my handwriting is bad today, as a product of factors. My spelling is even worse. Factors. I'm writing like a third grader today. So, if I took the number 6 and then I said factor, you would write this expression as a product of factors, 2 times 3. That is 6 in factored form. We're not going to do things like that. What we're going to be looking at is factoring polynomials. For instance, 2x squared plus 6x. I want you to factor this. What we need to look for is the greatest common factor. What is the greatest common factor? Greatest common factor. Now, the greatest common factor is the largest number that 2 and 6 are divisible by. So in this case, the greatest common factor would be 2. We also look at x squared and x. X squared is divisible by x, and so is x. So the greatest common factor is 2x. Once we have established the greatest common factor, all we do is reverse distribution. Reverse distribution. So, we put our 2x out here, and then we say 2x times what is 2x squared, and that would be x, plus 2x times what is 6x. Well, 2 times 3 is 6, so 2x times 3 is 6x. And we're done. That's all there is to it. So let's do 2 more quick examples. 6x squared plus 15x. First of all, find the GCF, the greatest common factor. The largest number that 6 and 15 is divisible by is 3, and x squared and x is x. So we have 3x times 3x times what is 6x squared? 3 times 2 is 6. X times x is x squared, plus 3 times what is 15? 5. I only have one x, and so I don't need any more x's, and we're done. Let's look at one more. All right, 12x cubed minus 18x squared. The greatest common factor, if I look at 12 and 18, is 6. But let's pretend, no, I'm not going to do that. So it's 6. Greatest common factor is 6. X cubed and x squared, well, x squared is divisible by x squared, as is x cubed. So we have 6x squared. You can also look at it and just, if there's 3 x's here, 2 x's here, we just go with the 2. We go with the smaller of the two numbers. So 6x squared times 6 times what is 12? 2. I have 2 x's here, I need one more. Minus, it's minus. Notice before is plus. And 6 times what is 18? 3. And x squared, I'm good to go. And we're done. That's all there is to factoring. But we're not just going to factor. We're going to solve equations. One of the most powerful things about factoring is it enables us to solve equations. If I have two variables, two expressions, a times b equals 0, we have something called the zero product property. If a times b is 0, then either a equals 0 or b equals 0. So if I ask you to solve an equation, solve 5x squared minus 8x equals 0, and we factor, we're going to start by factoring. My greatest common factor is x. No common factor with 5 and 8. So we do reverse distribution. X times 5x minus x times 8 equals 0. So either x is equal to 0 or 5x minus 8 equals 0. In order for this to be true, one of these two has to be equal to 0. So my solution is x is 0 or plus 8, 5x equals 8, divide by 5, x equals 8/5. So my solution is one of two numbers. We are not using ordered pairs. X is one of these two numbers, or both of them. And they both work. So let's do one more. Solve 6x squared minus 15x. Greatest common factor is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6. Need an x. 3 times 5 is 15. So I have 3x equals 0. Or 2x minus 5 equals 0. Divide by 3, divide by 3. X can be 0. Add 5, add 5. 2x equals 5, or I divide by 2, x equals 5 halves. So my solution is 0 and 5 halves. That's it. That's all there is to it. All right. I hope you guys had a great weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Hello.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Hello. This is a short video presentation.